All right, guys, I got a quick video for you from Dumb Guys Talk. I got just a few little updates. I'm doing my mock drafts and I'm coming up with my season strategy, so I thought I'd share that with you and how that's evolving right now. And also, Manny Machado just signed. Maybe Bryce Harper's next. So I'll talk a little bit about Machado's signing and what that might do for fantasy. You know, just stick with me, see what we come up with. I think I got some good pointers for you. All right, so let's start with the draft strategy. I just did a couple mock drafts. I've been getting up in the morning, doing them before I kind of get going, and just kind of learning where people are falling, and you know, how I can kind of take advantage of that, and how I can just be a little bit ahead of the curve. I've been doing them in Yahoo lately. I started at the the other place that does simulated drafts. Yahoo, you actually get in rooms with actual live people, so it can give you kind of an idea of what other people are thinking. And so here's just a few things I've come up with. And one is outfielders are important this year. I did not like when I waited on outfielder towards the end of the draft and the options that were still left, even past the middle of the draft. I thought I was kind of stuck with poor hitters, poor production, that sort of thing. And I'll be kind of like not competing well with other teams on the offensive stats if I left outfielders. And I found that my team I thought was much better if I took an outfielder out with one of my first two picks and then took a second one by the fourth or fifth round, even early, maybe even earlier. And then don't wait too late even on that last outfield spot, because like I said, there's some really great ones early. You can get like Acuna, like Harper potentially with your second pick, even though you don't know what team he's on yet. Maybe you will by the time you watch this video. And then some other good ones. Like I had a team of like Acuna, Soto, and then David Dahl on the Rockies, and that's some good young potential there, but I couldn't wait. I had to jump on outfield to get a good outfield. So watch out for that. Now, I almost had the opposite experience with the relief pitching. I almost felt like I could even like finish the draft without all the relief spots filled, because there's so many guys at that end of the draft, not even drafted type range, they could win a closer spot. For example, like I know Mark Melancon, I think people will be surprised that he might win that Giants closer spot and go back to that form he used to be at, because all the reports I'm seeing from spring training is that his arm feels good, and it hasn't felt as good as it does now for a couple years. But if he doesn't win it, there's Will Smith out there. There's other guys like Raciel Iglesias who is falling down, but he may not win that closer job, so look for who he's competing with. I think Cody Allen will be an underrated guy. And I don't like jumping on, say, like last year's top relievers, because I think a lot of times they're worn out and there's no way they can repeat what they've done. Say, like I had Edwin Diaz on a couple of my teams last year, and he was amazing, but the likelihood of repeating the season he had last year of over 100 strikeouts and over 50 saves, it's just super unlikely, and you're spending a draft spot like he's got to repeat that. And I would prefer to just wait, get some outfielders instead. Now, another thing is stolen bases. I think power and speed combination type guys are back, and that means you can probably avoid those specialists a little bit more this year. I think Billy Hamilton just isn't worth it. Maybe a later specialist, like if you consider Alberto Mondesi kind of a specialist, but I think he's a potential to put out all great all-around numbers. That's a guy you can get stolen bases later. I even like Tim Anderson later. There's a lot of 20-20 type guys out there, and I'd recommend filling your team up with guys like that over getting a guy that's like 40-50 steals but doesn't contribute anything else to your team. So I really like this. I like these great athletes are back, and that you can get power and speed combinations. So I would recommend that. And the last thing I noticed is there's some great deals on starting pitching. Kind of middle of the draft, guys like I like Corbin, Barrios, Madison Bumgarner, but don't wait too long on starting pitching, because towards the end it really thins out. Middle of the draft, I really like the guys in that range. So that's the recommendation for when I would say fill out your starting pitching staff. You know, maybe you get one guy a little bit earlier than that, but then fill it out in the middle with those types of guys. All right, now those are the things I've seen in the draft, but now let's talk about Machado. Since he signed today, everybody's looking at the ripple effect. Everybody's saying is a Padres a good thing for him? I think it's an okay thing for him. I think the Padres hitting ballpark is kind of for hitters. It used to have more of a reputation of being a pitcher's ballpark, but they moved some of the fences in. But I think he's got enough power to still hit some home runs. It might take a few away compared to like if he had gone to Philadelphia. I think he would have hit more there. So I'd say Machado's probably fine as in himself. This doesn't really like boost him up, and I think maybe just down a little bit. But I think the guys around him you can look out for now. The guys that are getting kind of overlooked, like Will Myers, Hosmer, Renfro, Manuel Margot. I'm sure I'm butchering that name. You guys know I'm good at butchering names. I think those guys were kind of overlooked last year and are being overlooked in these drafts. And Manny Machado being in the lineup might give them that little bit of a boost they need to have more runs scored, more RBIs, less attention paid to them by pitchers, them being given better pitches to hit because the other team's focusing more on Machado. So I'd say, like, look for the guys around him in San Diego to up their production a little bit, and just be savvy. Don't overpay for him, because I think the Padres overall are just kind of like, he'll be fine but not amazing, and just talking ballpark wise, you just never know if he'll have a career year or not. But he got paid. I'd prefer guys that they're playing for money. This is somebody that already got paid. He's going to just a kind of okay hitter's ballpark. I'd say second round's fine, maybe even in a third round, but look for those other guys to kind of step up a little bit, have the peripheral numbers just kind of come up. And I think people are really overlooking like Hosmer and Will Myers, because Will Myers spent time injured last year, but he's a good power speed combination type guy. And Hosmer is one of those guys that, he went to a new team. Like I said, it's an example of somebody that gets a big contract, a lot of times having a down year the next year. But I think he'll settle into place more. He'll have more pressure taken off of him with more people paying attention to Machado. And I think his all-around game could potentially step up. He could be one of those 20 home run, 100 RBIs, close to 300 batting average type guys. So keep an eye on him as well, if you miss out on the top first baseman you truly wanted. All right, so thanks for sticking with us. Season's getting closer and closer. We're still in February. March, time will start. People actually start drafting. Remember, if you want to play with the dumb guys, go join our Patreon and get into one of our leagues. All right? If you have any questions, stick them in the comments. We'll do our best to respond. And other than that, stay dumb.